If you knew who was really behind Bitcoin, you would run as fast as you fucking could to sell it.
Why no Bitcoins and why no cryptocurrency?
Well, Bitcoins I called the top of the market in December 2017 when it was $19,600. I said, if you have Bitcoin, sell half, keep half. This is the top. Nobody listened to me. If you knew who was really behind Bitcoin, you would run as fast as you fucking could to sell it. I know. 100%. If you knew who owned Bitcoin or who started Bitcoin, you had Bitcoin, you couldn't sleep at night. I know. 100%. And when the real founder of Bitcoin comes out, it is my humble opinion, and there's nothing humble about me, Bitcoin will go to fucking zero.
One day.
And a microsecond, whoop, like that.
Hey everybody, Matty here with Altcoin Buzz. Happy Sunday. Today we are discussing the opinion of Mr. Dan Pena, the so-called $1 trillion man. Spoiler alert, he's worth much less than $1 trillion, and I think he's overextending himself here, as do others. He's got some very nasty and venomous things to say about Bitcoin. We'll take a look at what those are and basically give you his elevator pitch for a moment. We're also discussing briefly updates with Cardano. OBFT Hard fork has been implemented in the Cardano mainnet. Let's take a look at that. But first, the markets here on coinmarketcap.com. $286 billion total market cap. We're up a little bit since yesterday. In fact, projects up 2, 3, 4%. Bitcoin right now at the time of this recording creeping up steadily, $9,848. That is up 2.08%. As you can see, things look pretty good on this Sunday. Dominance 62.6%. At GoCrypto, Aussie GoCrypto on Twitter, what the $1 trillion man thinks of Bitcoin. Quote, if you knew who was behind Bitcoin, you'd run as fast as you effing could to sell it. The truth hurts. And tagging a whole bunch of people, including Altcoin Buzz here, including Mr. Dan Pena himself, again, the so-called $1 trillion man. We'll get into his opinion specifically in just a second. Altcoin Buzz responding to this. So he thinks Russia or a 3-letter government organization is behind it, I guess. Like, big deal. We know how it works. We can see what's going on with the network, its strength. It's transparent and censorship resistant. If you don't know this, you shouldn't get into it in the first place. And I think Dan Pena, I guess along with GoCrypto from Australia, is adding themselves to this chorus of people that just use Russia for the ultimate boogeyman of anything they fear or don't understand, or that poses to their worldview or their infrastructure the most minor threat or the most minor obstacle that they have to overcome or learn about. This Russia nonsense has been disproven now a couple of times over. Getting into politics for just a second, you're seeing it reemerge in the form of Bernie Sanders. They're now lambasting him and calling him a paid and bought for stooge of Russia. Have you seen the pattern by now? Have you seen that it's just nonsense when people use that as an excuse? It's their scapegoat and it's their boogeyman. Dan Pena, to set the stage, is not $1 trillion man. By any metric, he is a very successful guy, but he's worth about $450 million. He's the founder of Quantum Leap Advantage, or QLA methodology, which is a well-respected organization. He's equally a well-respected author, and his mentees have a combined net worth of more than $6 trillion as of 2020. I don't know anything about Mr. Pena's business. I don't know much about him as far as what, his personality is like, or his successes, his accomplishments, even his failures for that matter. He's a rather foul-mouthed guy, though. He doesn't come across and certainly doesn't strike me as overly intelligent. He seems to be kind of right in the meaty part of that bell curve. He's certainly a bold speaker, and he comes out and he makes big, bombastic statements to kind of capture your attention, but I have not heard anything to substantiate some of these opinions that he's thrown around. He makes a lot of big claims and doesn't necessarily back them up. So it surprises me to see people in the crypto community gravitate towards his message, because it rings hollow, at least for me personally. I'm not getting sort of the crux or the main core of what it is he's trying to communicate. Again, very foul-mouthed guy. So if he wants to jump on the Russia bandwagon and entertain that conspiracy when it comes to Bitcoin, that's fine. Altcoin Buzz will not be following his lead. Here on coinounce.com, Dan Pena reveals the person behind Bitcoin says it will go to zero. All right, brace yourselves. Dan Pena claims he knows the person who created Bitcoin, and according to him, it is Russian President Vladimir Putin. Russian President Vladimir Putin. He believes that Bitcoin is a Russian conspiracy to mess up the Western economy. And according to Pena, Bitcoin will inevitably go down to zero. Another tangent just briefly here. For anybody that says Bitcoin will go down to zero, they don't have the most fundamental graph of how supply-side economics work. Supply and demand will always be such that if Bitcoin falls off a cliff tomorrow and goes to $1,000, goes to $500, goes to $100, goes to 10 cents, you're telling me that nobody out there in the world, all of you listeners or anybody else for that matter, nobody would be willing to pick up a deeply discounted Bitcoin. It's not possible to go to zero. I mean, the most basic understanding of financial and economic mathematics would have censored him, would have prevented him from making that kind of a comment. So right there, the credibility is shot, in my opinion. American businessman Daniel Stephen Pena, is also known as Dan Pena, claims to know who is the person behind Bitcoin. He believes Bitcoin is a Russian conspiracy designed to overtake the world financially, and the man behind the conspiracy is none other than the Russian President Vladimir Putin. He also claimed that Bitcoin would inevitably go down to zero. Here on wealthacademy.com, just want to say that there is a wildly disparate figure when it comes to the net worth of Dan Pena's clients. These guys are claiming it's closer to $50 billion as opposed to the $6 trillion that we saw earlier. So we're going to have to look into that a little bit further. However, let's get on to the important part of this article, because he's really talking about some outlandish things. This is more of an in-depth examination of what he's all about from his inner circle mastermind clients. He seems to offer a bunch of different programs, business coaching and that sort of thing, high performance coaching and business lessons, it would seem. And it seems to have been a successful venture for him. I can't really comment on that. I can't knock him for it, nor can I compliment him really, because I'm not familiar with it personally. However, this all seems to me an example of the importance of staying in your lane. Staying in your lane and knowing what it is you do well, sticking to that. We talked about the Warren Buffetts of the world, the Charlie Mungers, the Bill Gates recently, these dinosaurs who did very well in their respective industries, but who also failed even in adjacent industries. Warren Buffett basically slamming Elon Musk of Tesla, talking about how he's a poor CEO, how Tesla would never succeed in the insurance racket. And then, moments, I'm exaggerating, but months before, the stock of Tesla has skyrocketed to really unprecedented highs. Also, Warren Buffett not doing so well when it came to investments in Apple and Amazon. And now he's going out, it seems he hasn't learned from those lessons. He's going out and doing the same thing with Bitcoin, with cryptocurrency, talking about why they're never going to pay off in the long run. Do what it is you do well. You don't have to overextend yourself into every sector that exists in this world. And again, from a kind of cursory, preliminary perspective, it seems to be what Dan Pena is doing here. If you want to entertain the guy, or maybe you just want to follow him in order to spar with him a little bit, give him a dose of reality, and make sure to back up your arguments with quantitative metrics and well-researched facts, at Dan's Pena, DANSPENA, the so-called $1 trillion man, false financial magician, Midas touch, high-performance business success coach, QLA founder, and, quote, greatest of all time in the creation of wealth. Very few of those are accurate. The greatest of all time in the creation of wealth. I don't know about that, but there you have it. That is his Twitter handle. I think it's safe to say that we can add one to the basket of Nouriel Roubini's and Paul Krugman's at this point, and I will be oh so satisfied to re-report on this individual, maybe in a couple years' time, however long it takes, when things have swung around to his disadvantage. Stay tuned, everybody, but in the meantime, that is his handle right there. We have a little bit of other news today that we should discuss briefly on altcoinbuzz.io. The OBFT hard fork has been implemented in Cardano's mainnet. Article here by Annie. The IOHK team has recently announced the successful implementation of OBFT hard fork, and this is a step towards realizing the Shelley era, which will introduce full decentralization on the Cardano network. So great news for Cardano fans, ADA fans out there. We know there are many of you out there in the altcoin buzz army. Charles Hoskinson himself tweeting on the 20th of February, hard fork successful. The OBFT era has begun. For full details here, check out the rest of Annie's article. Let us know your thoughts about this development towards that realization of the Shelley protocol. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And that about wraps it up for today, everybody. Do be sure you're following us on all the regular social media channels and keep checking back into altcoinbuzz.io for all the latest. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell to receive notifications. Best of luck, of course, if you choose to invest. Have a great one, everybody. Don't forget about our next week's giveaway of a crypto tag Zeus starter kit. Make sure you're subscribed to Altcoin Buzz, like our videos, and comment our videos for a chance to win. Have a wonderful Sunday, everybody. A great tail end to your weekend. And as always, we hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.